Eventually.
Well, good afternoon. You're listening to WQKELP 93.9 FM out of Plattsburgh, New York. I wish you guys could see the studio as Desmond was up in arms over there as we were getting started.
Excited. I'm also very tired.
Well,
but it's all right.
It's all right. So you're listening to your typically 3 o'clock, but we've upgraded.
2-hour special.
Yeah, listening to a 2-hour special sports report here with Desmond and Liam. Desmond, how's your spring break?
Boring. I didn't do much, but I did open up some cards, something we're going to talk about. Not today, because we don't have time for it, but eventually we'll
get to it.
Talk about my crippling card addiction.
Yeah, Desmond and I had some discussion before the show on that, and that'll be an interesting talking topic for when the sports news cycle dies down a little bit, but dying down is the exact opposite of what happened over spring break. I knew when we left it may be chaotic with how things were shaping up, but I didn't imagine what had happened over spring break, which we'll get into, would happen the way it did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
I just find it very funny that it was just very kind of outside of the last show where the Russell Wilson trade happened and all that. It was just very boring.
Yeah.
And in the moment we can't go back on the show.
It was
boom, 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 boom.
It was
everything.
Yeah, like we talked like 4 times literally every day.
Yeah. Like, because
every day.
It was just moves happening all the time.
So, let's start how we normally do, twinning a tire. Today's crew necks. You have your AI.
I have my Allen Iverson crew neck with I think I have one of my new Miami Heat shirts, because someone, I doubt they will ever hear this, but thank you to whoever donated their entire Miami Heat shirt collection at my local Goodwill, because I got like 6 shirts.
Good job. I'm wearing a crew neck for a local business. A shout out to Nephew's Milk Hauling Company. I stole this from a grad party.
Really?
Well, all right. So I don't want to go into the whole story, but it was my buddy's grad party, and he had all these crew necks, so I took one.
That's not bad.
They were like in a bin in the corner. I was like, don't mind if I do, so I took one.
All right. Well, before we're going to start off with the NFL, but before we get into everything that's happened over the week, we're going to go with the most breaking news, which literally broke as we were on our way to the show.
Yep.
Matt Ryan, the quarterback for the Falcons, was just traded to the Indianapolis Colts for I think it was just the 3rd round pick in this year's draft. I mean, definitely an upgrade over Carson Wentz, I'd say.
It's close.
I mean, obviously stats don't say everything, but let me look up Matt Ryan's stats, because I like the Falcons a lot, but I will be honest, I did not pay much attention to them this year. Oh.
What?
Oh, my.
Yeah, they weren't very good.
These are old. I mean, obviously, he played behind a pretty bad offensive line. He didn't have Calvin Ridley most of the year, so it's not entirely
his only target, essentially, was Pitts.
And
it was his first year without Julio, right? Yes,
yeah,
it was.
So, I mean, it's not all of his fault, but looking at these stats are obviously not the most promising things, but I believe behind that offensive line with Michael Pittman, with hopefully T.Y. Hilton, and Jonathan Taylor, that he can revive his
how old is he?
Aging career. Got to be 36. I was going to say 35.
I was about to say he's high 30s.
Yeah, I mean,
the Colts are just the Colts would have benefited from the Russell Wilson trade. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean,
from Russell.
I like Carson Wentz a lot more than the average Joe, but he definitely didn't play.
I don't.
Statistically, he played well. Like, if you look at his base stats, he played well, but if you watch him play, one moment he'll look like a top quarterback, the next he'll look like he shouldn't even play in the NFL.
Yeah, he is painful to watch.
But, I mean...
And I'm fine with getting rid of them, but I'd say they drew an unlucky card at the wrong time. Does that make sense? I don't know. They needed quarterbacks in seasons where they've had a lot of trouble getting quarterbacks. Like the year where they got Phillip Rivers. That was the year
Andrew Luck retiring really hurt them, but what are you going to do about it?
Andrew Luck would probably be a better option.
Well, obviously Andrew Luck was the top quarterback in the league when he retired.
Yeah, he pulled a Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, but except his was more of injury.
Yeah.
He already had because I remember he could have went the year before he got drafted, and it would have been the number 1 pick. He still was the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. But he wanted to stay another year because I believe he got his degree in, I believe it was architecture at Stanford. So that basically, I'm sure that's what he's doing now because it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But, so you want to get into everything that happened over the week, even though...
Yeah, you got any final thoughts on the Matt Ryan trade?
Good for the Colts. Good move. Probably an upgrade at quarterback. And as for the Falcons, I'm sorry, fans. I don't know what you're going to do at quarterback.
It's a weird situation where I think they were kind of stuck between deciding whether they wanted to rebuild or not.
Yeah.
But only a third-round pick. Eesh.
It's like what we're going to get into with the Robert Woods trade. It's more of the age and the contract that are bringing his value down more than anything. I'm trying to find when the Falcons make their first-round pick to say if they could take a quarterback.
I think they have a high pick.
They
must be.
They
were terrible last year.
Go. Round 1, they have the 8th pick. I don't know if I'd want to take a quarterback that high.
I think Pickett will still be on the board.
No, yeah, I think I don't know if there is. I don't know. I'm not very high in the quarterbacks in this year's draft class, of course, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they think that Pickett is the right move at 8. Maybe they think Malik Willis is the right move at 8 for what they already have. I'd say Kenny Pickett's probably the better fit, but I'm not that high on either quarterback. Not too high, at least. I think that they both have tremendous upside, especially Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis, if everything pans out for him, could be a great quarterback, but I still am not entirely sure if those will. But we'll find out eventually.
I haven't watched Matt Ryan enough of reason to be like, oh, it's a good trade, bad trade. I think it'll be interesting to see how it pans out while the Colts are trying to secure a long-term option. We'll get into the Brown situation later, but I thought Baker was a way better option than Matt Ryan. You didn't. I thought Baker was a way better option than Matt Ryan. You didn't, though.
Because you know what you're getting out of Matt Ryan.
Baker, you don't.
What you're getting. Baker, you don't, because he could come out and he could play like he did his second year where he played great, or he could come out and play like he did this year where he played terribly.
I just think a way bigger upside with Baker. Yeah, and I think Baker's in a desperate.
I agree
desperate need of
because if he plays well, then you're going to get a very good quarterback. But if he doesn't play well, you're going to be in the same boat as you were with Carson Wentz, where you have a quarterback that's sometimes going to play very well and sometimes going to play very terribly.
Yeah, I agree.
At that point, I'd rather take the safer guy, because it probably would have taken less picks to get Ryan than it would have taken Baker.
Yeah, there's the Browns have some reason in prioritizing Baker big time, which doesn't really make any sense.
I mean, I don't know if they can get a first for him, but I'd assume that
second and a third, probably.
Second, I don't know. I don't really know what his trade value is, because he's young. He still has upside.
Very young.
He has not been playing very well recently, and that's the problem. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do about Baker.
All right, let's start chipping away at all the moves. Let's start chipping away.
All right, so we'll start off with the Amari Cooper trade, because it was originally announced that the Cowboys were looking to release Amari Cooper, but after a couple of days they decided, hey, we can still trade him, so they ended up trading to the Browns for a 2022 5th-round pick, and they swapped their 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not very good for the Cowboys in hindsight, because what did they give up? They gave up, a first?
Yeah.
I think they gave up like a first and a second. I can't entirely remember what they gave up, because the trade was a couple of years ago now. But great move for the Browns, especially with the trade that they made that we're going to get into a little later. But yeah, he's still a top route runner in the league, still a very good receiver. He just has had combination of injury and at times poor quarterback play from Dak Prescott.
I'd say.
But I think it'll work out. When I read, because I was trying to find the trade, I guess the Browns restructured his contract, which is obviously a good thing because he's making a lot of money. But
he's still a top, not to interrupt you, but he's still a top receiver in the game.
Absolutely.
And at the time, which another move we'll get into, I'm sure everyone knows, it seemed like a little bit of a good situation for Baker too, because I mean between OBJ and Cooper, I'd say that's pretty much a toss-up.
I mean,
because he goes from he would have went from having OBJ to Cooper.
I'll say obviously Cooper will probably be better than Odell was in the Browns, but a lot of Odell's lack of success was sadly due to Baker Mayfield's play.
Yep.
So we'll see. Obviously, if Odell keeps playing like he did in the Rams before he went down to the knee injury, he'll probably go back to being a top receiver in the league. But after another knee injury, I don't know, which is very sad to say. But with that, move on to some of the other moves where Cole Beasley and Julio Jones were both released. I'll get into the one I'm looking at right now a little later, just because it's a little different than the other ones. Cole Beasley wasn't really surprising. They signed Von Miller, as I'll get into, to a very, in my honest opinion, and the opinion of some others that I know, a very bad contract, because a player of Von Miller's age, injury history, and I hate to say it, but at this point, talent it's not worth it because they signed him to a 6-year, $120 million deal.
I don't like it.
So when that contract expires, he's going to be 38 or 39 years old.
I don't like it.
He'll be about 38 years old.
I don't know what the people listening to the show were watching, but when I watched the Super Bowl, I was not blown away with Von Miller.
No, I mean, he's obviously not where he used to be. If he magically returns to his old form, he's worth that contract. But yeah, not a very good contract, which made them release Cole Beasley, among other reasons of his opinion on certain things that I'm not going to get into. That have caused him to become a bit of a distraction off the field.
Cole Beasley, man.
I mean, I liked him on the Cowboys, but then he kind of got annoying with everything he started talking about because I really cannot stand when players make their opinions their entire lifestyle, no matter really what it is. And then on the other side, we have Julio Jones, who was also released because he made a lot of money and the Titans didn't really need him anymore. I'm very curious as to where he will sign because he obviously had a lot of he dealt with injuries last season, and I think he can go back to being a great receiver.
I'm curious where his game's at. Very curious where his game's at.
I think if he goes to the Packers, he'll have a chance of becoming a great receiver again.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
But I don't know because not only depends on how much money he wants, it depends on if the Packers are willing to spend that money because who knows how much money they have now.
God, the Packers are so cheap.
But after what I'm going to get into, I'd assume they have some money. But with that, I guess I'll jump into that. And the Davante Adams trade, in my opinion, very bad Davante Adams trade for the Packers, because the Raiders did not give up much. They gave up, the 22nd pick and a second-round pick for arguably the best receiver in the game. I mean, that's pretty bad if you ask me, because, I mean...
I'm just surprised the market wasn't more for him.
Look at what DeAndre Hopkins was traded for. Obviously, the Texans are a lot worse of a franchise than the Packers are, but... I don't know. I feel like you should have gotten at least, if not another first, more mid-round picks. Like maybe get like a third and fourth next year. I really don't know. I feel like I don't like looking at arguably the best receiver in the game, and you give up a later first round pick and a second round pick. Just to end up drafting another receiver.
Let's just see what. Like, I guess where I'm at is it's really confusing the market for receivers. I think that's what you were kind of hinting at there. That's such a good comparison to the DeAndre Hopkins trade because, like, look at what they got, and then, like, look at what the Amari Cooper trade is, despite the contract stuff, and then the
Robert Wood trade we're going
and then the Juju Smith-Schuster signing. Like, I think the market line for receivers is not very clear ever.
No.
And it makes it really confusing when it comes to trading and signing for them because some people, like Juju, get a lot of money, and some people, like Davante Adams, aren't as valued as nearly as high they should be. Davante Adams is a top 10. Is probably arguably the best receiver in the game, probably a top 10 player in all of football. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, and then I kind of want the Giants to move on from Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Robert Woods. Obviously, the contract played a big factor in that. He's getting traded for a 6th-round pick. Amari Cooper, same thing. It's still a contract, but he's getting traded for a 5th-round pick. And that really makes me question as to what Darius Slayton's value would be, which is another receiver I could see the Packers picking up. I'm very questionable on Slayton's skill outside of a deep ball, but I mean, he still has upside. If he can work on his hands a lot better, I think he could be a pretty good receiver in this league, but he needs to work on his hands because they were very, very, very bad last year. They really have never been very good. It was just last year when he was kind of forced to be the number one receiver for a while, and he did not play very well. But I don't know.
Receivers are very confusing. And I hate to say it as bluntly as I'm going to say this, but I think receivers are very, what?
Oh, I thought it was Zadarius Smith is visiting Minnesota. I thought that he signed there.
Oh. I think receivers are very replaceable at times is a good way to put it. And I think that's why their value is so confusing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Patriots.
Yeah.
They went from Wes Welker and Randy Moss to Amendola and Edelman to late-round short white men.
And they're fine.
An inspiration to people like myself.
Well, I mean, look who Mac Jones is throwing to this year.
Nelson Aguilar,
Kendrick
Bourne.
Put him on any other team, they're horrible.
Who's the other receiver they had that was pretty good?
Wait. I don't know.
Moving on. In other news, we'll go over some of the signings. We have Juju Smith-Schuster to the Chiefs.
1 year, $10 million, I think.
I think so. Him and Jackson Mahomes can make TikToks, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a very good move for them. I think he'll have a serviceable role as a second or third guy behind Tyreek Hill, and depending.
That's all Juju is anymore.
Yeah, it was kind of proven that he can't be a number one guy after Antonio Brown left.
And that's the other thing about receivers too, is that like their career longevity is very, very short compared to other positions.
I mean, some can be. Obviously, you have like someone like Jerry Rice who played for like 20 years and was good for all 20. But like then you have guys like Juju who
have 1 year,
was really good. But again, it just depends on the situation because you had Antonio Brown getting double teamed every time, so he was open. And it's like Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton had a really good rookie year. Once everyone got injured and he was forced to be the number one guy, gone. He can't be the number one guy. Not saying Darius Slayton should ever be the number one guy in a team, but it just kind of shows who has the potential to be a top receiver and who doesn't.
And I think that's what makes Devontae Adams' last 3 seasons just more impressive in my mind, is that he had no other receiver. All he had was Aaron Rodgers, and he put up some of the best receiving stats in the entire league all 3 years. So,
but in other moves, you have Allen Robinson signing to the Rams.
Great move.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not Robert Woods isn't there anymore, but just the combination of Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson alone, let alone you have guys like Van Jefferson, Odell, who may be coming back. I don't know what his plans are. I think he put out a tweet saying, like, oh, now this is just more motivation, which makes me think he's not coming back. But I really don't know right now. But regardless...
How can you not want to go back?
Well, I don't think they have the money.
Oh.
Yeah. But, I mean, the cap space in the NFL is so weird. Like, teams are over the cap, but they keep signing guys like the Packers, like the Giants, who keep signing, even though they're lower contracts, we're over the cap right now. We keep signing all these guys. Like, we signed Matt Breida and some edge rusher today. But
contracts in football are so weird.
Because it's all in the guaranteed money. Nothing matters besides the guaranteed money. And the cap hit.
And
which is weird because a player will be getting paid a certain amount, but their cap hit will be different.
Yeah.
Which is something I've never really understood.
And the way releasing works is very fishy in my mind.
What do you mean?
That you can just kind of, all right, well, see ya. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that. I mean, then you have, like, what the Eagles did with Fletcher Cox, who they're like, oh, we don't want to pay you this much, but we'll pay you this much, so we're going to cut you, give you that money, and then give you a new contract.
Yeah.
Which is, like, something you do on, like, Madden, but...
And then what was the other thing I was thinking? Oh my god, I'm blanking right now. Restructuring a contract. That does not happen.
I like that.
No, I do too, but that does not happen in any other league.
No, I wish the NBA would do something like that, because that would be
like,
nice.
Hey, we're going to backload your contract so we can sign a bunch of players, and then that'll be fine.
That's why I'm glad the Giants did that, because that means that I don't have to deal with another year of Nate Solder.
Yeah, awesome. But Stafford got extended, too, if we want to keep talking about the Rams.
Yes, he got a very large deal.
Well, I mean rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. I'd say off the top of my mind and off of nothing else, so do not take this very seriously, I'd say he's probably a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
He
led the team to a Super Bowl. Granted, he has Cooper Kupp, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really thinking very deep on this right now, but I'd say he's probably a top 10 quarterback in the league. And then, not to mention, obviously, he won them a Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a very good deal. He's probably going to... I think they said he's going to play the rest of his career out there, which I agree.
Why wouldn't you not? Like, you go from cold Detroit to warm L.A., just weather-wise.
Such an upgrade. That's
like
Devontae Adams. You know, the Packers offered him more to stay, and he's like, no, like, I don't want to stay in Wisconsin. Let me go to Las Vegas. And I'd do the same thing.
I was kind of hinting at it when we were talking about this. I don't know if it had to do more with weather or more with team situation. Because, honestly, I think I'd rather be on the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a lot better than Derek Carr, but you know Derek Carr. You went to college with Derek Carr. You probably have better chemistry with Derek Carr.
Your defense is so much better.
You have more weapons that will take away pressure from you because they have Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. They have a receiver that I like a lot. Brian Edwards, I think his name is. I like Brian Edwards a lot. Then Josh Jacobs, obviously, even though Aaron Jones is probably, when healthy, better than Josh Jacobs. When you have all those other weapons, it doesn't really matter. But, I mean, yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. Go play either with one of your buddies. I think he literally bought a house next to Derek Carr and play in a better area. And at this point, who knows, maybe even a better team next year, depending on how the Packers play. But
not blown away with the Packers offseason.
No, they have not done anything. They've lost more than they've really gained.
Yep.
I think they re-signed Preston Smith, but they let go of Zadarius Smith.
It's crazy how, in literally, not to interrupt you, 1 month, they went from the top of the world to the absolute barrels of the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, going into the playoffs.
Still a playoff team.
Oh, yeah, but going into the playoffs, they were it It was like Super Bowl or
we
bust
could
for them, and now they're questionable to make a playoff spot. Period.
I just don't know how many times Aaron Rodgers is going to run it back. I don't know. I don't know why he stayed this year.
I don't know what his deal is anymore. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
Is that the chair?
Yeah, I'm in a very old rickety chair, so I apologize for that. I'll probably just end up cutting that out of the audio when we upload it. But I apologize for those of you who are listening live. This chair, we don't have very good chairs in here.
No.
I wish we could get some more, but I'm broke. But
it's all right.
Anyways, move on.
Going back to that, if I was Rodgers, I still would have gone to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why he didn't.
And then you have the Packers, who drafted Jordan Love
to
be his replacement, and he's going into his third year, and he has yet to.
He's played like one game.
Yeah, against the Chiefs, and he didn't play terribly, but didn't play very well either.
Oh my goodness!
In other moves, we have Randy Gregory, defensive end for the Cowboys, signing with the Broncos after originally saying he was going to re-sign with the Cowboys.
So
he
weird.
Backed out. I saw something that said they added an extra clause that he didn't like, and then he came out apparently and said that Jerry Jones acted in bad faith or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm getting I don't want to go into a Cowboys rant today because I'm not in the mood.
Yeah,
I'm getting so sick of the Cowboys.
No, I don't blame you. I don't like many of the moves they've made.
It's getting worse and worse every year.
I saw if it was like trading your wide receiver 1 for your running because your running back 2 makes too much money.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible. Yeah, I mean.
The Cowboys are. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The Cowboys are carried by the fact that they are really good at drafting. That's the only reason they're significant.
They've done a really good job recently.
They're so good at drafting. That's the only reason they're significant at all.
I mean, the only really miss I can think of the last couple of years is like Taco Charlton.
Elaine Vander Esch was kind of a miss. Oh my god.
Yeah, but even then he had a solid rookie year, and he's still a really good tackler. He just has things to work on.
He got extended too.
Yeah, I saw it was like a 1-year thing, but like it could be worse. That's
no, I agree. But he's still like. But you look at their first-round picks in the last 2 years: Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb. Wow,
and then you add other guys like even then like Dak was a third-round pick.
Yep.
What was Trayvon Diggs? Trayvon Diggs was a second-round pick.
Yeah, Trayvon was even a second-round pick. Even like the Zeke pick was a good pick.
Yeah,
Zeke had like a really good.
Obviously, when he was good.
Well, when his rookie year, Zeke was
probably the best running back in the league.
Yeah, one of the better running back rookie seasons I can remember.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't like that they gave DeMarcus Lawrence that much money. I don't like that they were going to give Randy Gregory that much money.
And now, whenever Parsons gets his contract, it is going to be. It's probably going to be. He's probably going to become the highest paid defensive player in the league.
Yeah, I don't know how NFL contracts work because I know obviously in the NBA you can only make a certain amount after your rookie year.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, I don't know if there's any like things stopping you from paying a player.
But for the Broncos, great signing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they now pair. Yawning.
Yeah, you're struggling.
They now pair Bradley Chubb, who is very good but has been dealing with injuries recently, with Randy Gregory. And then, not to mention...
Surtain is on defense.
Surtain on defense. You have Justin Simmons on defense. Just adding to an already very, very good defense. I like to see it.
Quarterback. That was a quarterback-away team. Now you're just...
Now you have the quarterback.
There's no excuses for the Broncos to not make the playoffs. I'm telling you. I'm saying this right now.
They need to do something this season.
They do have a window. They do very much have a window. They're very young. Russell Wilson's only, 30... Well, but he's, 32?
32, 33.
Yeah, exactly. Like he still has many years of, or I would say at least 3 years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, productivity left. You do have a window, but the league's getting better.
Yeah.
We were talking about who we thought was going to win the Super Bowl this season.
Which we'll get into. I guess we can jump into right now, which, I mean, obviously everyone knows about all this, but Brady's back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I thought his retirement was very fishy from the beginning.
I don't know. I mean, if I never spent time with my wife and kids and then had to all of a sudden spend time with my wife and kids, I probably couldn't stand it either, so I'd probably want to come back.
Yeah, but remember when he first retired? And you and I were talking about this?
Yeah, Adam Schefter, and then it came out that he wasn't, and then it came out that he was.
Once that happened, I'm like, this is still a little suspicious. I thought it was, at least.
I don't blame you. But, I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't expect it, because I wasn't, I was definitely surprised when it happened, but thinking about it, I'm like, that's not the most wild thing I've heard of.
No. And it was such good timing, too.
Yep,
I think Schefter tweeted it. This was his way of saying, hey, don't leave to his players.
Yeah. I mean, because not Ryan Jensen. Their one guard that's really good. retired after Brady retired.
Yeah.
But
And it'll be interesting to see what Gronk does. That's the move that a lot of people are waiting on. I heard someone the other day go, "Oh, Gronk to the Bills." I'm like, if you think Gronk's playing with that,
I saw that. If Gronk is not with Brady, he's not playing. But I think he was in a barber shop and someone recorded him saying that he's coming back, which doesn't surprise me.
It's Gronk.
Yeah, but
he's not playing.
The thing with the Bucs though is they need to upgrade that offensive line because they lost both their guards. I was going to say right now, Alex Kappa signed with the Bengals, and then I don't know why I can't think of the guard's name right now. I'm blanking, but he retired. So now you have two. I don't know if they have a first-round pick, but if they do, and if he falls there, I take Zion Johnson in a heartbeat. He's someone I want the Giants to take. Mm-hmm. I'm going to regret saying this because I want him to fall to the second round to the Giants, but if he goes to a team like the Bucs, I would not be that mad because I'm a big fan of his.
I'm a huge fan of the Bucs this year. Huge. Because I think that's a team that if they had beaten the Rams probably would have won the Super Bowl in my mind.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone else was in their way except the Rams. And now you just come back. Maybe not. You honestly might come back better because now you have Godwin, who got extended. What are you looking at?
What are the Rockies doing?
What they do now?
They just. I mean, he might be worth this. I'm obviously not the biggest baseball guy, but obviously they're the team that signed
Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant to that.
Something we'll touch on later.
Awful contract.
Yes.
I'll say that now. They signed Ryan McMahon to a 6-year, $70 million deal.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you don't trade away your best player to
sign an identical third baseman.
An identical worst third baseman for an insane amount of money, but we'll get into that later, as we said. But, I mean, in other news, I guess we'll touch on what you could say is obviously right now probably the most controversial move, but probably the biggest right now is the Deshaun Watson trade to the Browns. Can you pull up the details for that?
I can try.
Go through this. So obviously, I'm sure everyone knows about the Deshaun Watson incident. I'm not going to touch on this live on air. If you want my opinions on it, you can follow my Twitter, which is at Desmond Novak, DesmondNovack, where I've talked multiple times on my opinions on Deshaun Watson and why I believe that him not even being able to play in the NFL, but him getting that much money is kind of a joke and shows how the league doesn't care, especially with the way his legal trial went down, where it was not proven that he was innocent. It was proven that they did not have enough evidence to convict him, which is something that people need to start talking about more instead of just saying, oh, innocent until proven guilty. Because let's be real here. If 22 people accuse you of the same thing, there is a very, 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 very high chance that at least one of them is telling the truth.
Yeah,
and that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah, and I agree we shouldn't go into this at all. We all have our different opinion on it. I don't know how to feel about it. I know if I were the Browns, I think I would have done the trade.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of if you ignore everything off the field, obviously you pull that trade off, but he's obviously.
Do I think it's very risky for the Browns? Oh my God!
Yeah, because they're probably one of the most hated teams in the NFL now. I know a lot of people that hated the Browns before them, but now have even a whole lot more hate for them now. But I think they gave up 3 firsts.
I'm trying to find it.
I know they gave up 3 firsts. I know that.
Here we go. 3 first-round picks, a 2023 third-round pick, 2024 fourth-round pick, and a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously if he plays like he did before, it'll be worth that. But that's not only if
that's
he
a
plays,
major if,
because who knows what the NFL is going to do? There's still the chance to suspend him. I don't think they will because the NFL is the NFL, and it has.
People don't talk enough.
I like I said, follow my Twitter if you want to hear my more of my opinions.
People don't talk.
Deshaun Watson.
Sorry to interrupt you, but people do not talk about enough or I guess they do, but how horrible the commission Roger Goodell is.
Oh yeah,
he might be worse than Rob Manfred sometimes.
No. I hate Goodell. I hate him.
He's
bottom of my
horrible.
Heart. But Rob Manfred is legitimately ruining the sport of baseball.
I know, but it takes a case like what happened with baseball to reveal bad management, and if something similar were to happen in the NFL where there's a lockout, Roger Goodell's inability to lead will be put on absolute display. It's just a matter of time in my mind.
When you suspend Josh Gordon for years after years after years of doing something that is legal in most states now, but yet you will not do any action to someone who more than likely did a horrific thing.
Yeah. Well,
then
just
there's
look
something wrong
at
with
the
that.
inconsistency when it comes to penalties.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
we were talking about the Ezekiel Elliott thing earlier, how that went down, and that was really weird. He got suspended, and like even like the Tom Brady deflate thing, like that was never really proven.
Yeah, something Brady had nothing to do with. He got punished 2 years in a row, missed the first 4 games.
Yeah, and it never really got proven either. Like never really.
Well, I think it got proven that Deflategate was a thing. It was never proven that Brady had anything to do with it. And it wasn't Brady. Brady had nothing to do with it. It's just when you're Roger Goodell and you don't know who to blame, you don't know what to do, you go for the biggest thing you can, which is Brady. Which is why I don't like Goodell, and I never really have. But
let's stay more. Keep the politics out of it, of course, because this is
family friendly, fun time show.
This is just meant to be lighthearted entertainment, of course. When it comes to a trade, it's a very risky, very very risky trade because whether or not we want to admit it, there is a major suspension risk for Deshaun Watson. That I agree. I don't think not enough people are talking about because I think it could happen, very likely. But even if he doesn't get suspended, I mean, I don't mind it. It's what?
Jameis Winston and the Saints are closing in on a 2-year deal for the quarterback to remain in New Orleans.
Sweet, good deal.
And thank God, because I don't think I could watch Taysom Hill play quarterback for them for a whole season.
Yeah, just put him wherever he's better. He can play every position. So
put him at tight end. Yeah. Don't even let him play quarterback. Put him in run wildcat when Winston's out, and just don't let that man play quarterback.
No, he's
just
bad.
Don't.
So back to the Deshaun Watson thing. The Browns upgraded, yes. The whole way it went down was really, really confusing.
Yeah, the thing I will say the thing I think I dislike the most. I won't say dislike the most, but I really didn't like is when the Browns put out a statement saying how they went through a thorough investigation on everything. Like, okay, one, not only did Deshaun Watson's lawyer say that no NFL team reached out to him, but to also say that you went through a thorough process but still traded for a man of that stature, of that character, is a joke. To say that you went through a process just to do that, but again, what are you going to do about it?
We all knew it was coming, and we all knew it was risky.
I mean, if it wasn't the Browns, the Falcons were about to move in on him. They were
Panthers,
like the finalists. The Panthers, no, the Panthers backed out like the day before the trade. It was between the Falcons and the Saints. Were the last two. And then
it was so weird, and it goes to how weird he is. Like he had said Falcons Saints. That's where I'm narrowing it down to. All of a sudden, wages no trade clauses. I'm only going to the Browns, and it happened in like 2 hours.
Yeah, because I think he originally said he didn't want to go to the Browns. No, the Browns said they weren't pursuing him, but obviously once Baker requested a trade, which I will get into that because I actually kind of forgot about that and the whole Baker Mayfield Browns situation. But yeah, I mean, in terms of if I'm a quarterback, I don't know if I'd rather go to the Browns and the Saints, but Browns have a better offensive line. It's a little more questionable because the Saints likely aren't retaining Teron Armstead.
Yep.
Which obviously shapes things up. But I mean, Jedrick Willis, Joe Bitonio, they don't have J.C. Treader anymore. Wyatt Teller, and I can't remember for the life of me who the right tackle is. That's a pretty good offensive line. Nick Chubb. Oh my goodness, they're going to have Kareem Hunt and Deshaun Watson on the same team. That is so bad.
Not Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara.
No, I'm talking about the
the Browns. Sorry.
And they're going to have Kareem Hunt and Deshaun Watson on the same team. That is so bad. Anyways, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, obviously the weapons in New Orleans are better, but in terms of offensive line, I'd probably rather go to the Browns. And I don't know.
The Browns. My issue with the Browns is what we're about to get into is how they handle the Baker Mayfield situation. Their ability to develop quarterbacks is absolutely horrible.
I hate the Browns.
They are horrible at quarterbacks, and it's because they have a revolving door of head coaches.
Horrible at everything. They're horrible at everything.
The way they develop Baker. Honestly, I'm probably going to regret saying this on air. I do kind of feel bad for Baker Mayfield. He kind of got failed by his own organization.
I mean, here's my thing.
They did leave him to die in the Odell situation.
Yeah, but you also have to think Baker had a really good situation.
Yeah,
he had one of the best offensive lines in the league, one of the best running backs in the league, 2 great receivers in Landry and Odell. Look at what Odell did once he left Baker. Yeah, it could. I did not watch enough of the Browns this season to tell. It could have been play calling. It could have been lapses of play from Baker at times, but
I'm not saying Baker. I'm saying I feel bad for Baker. I'm not saying Baker is by any means a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he is hard to watch at times. But Absolutely. I do think he, in a way, did get a little bit failed by his coaching staff because they didn't really they totally left him to die during that Odell situation. They didn't really go and protect their quarterback at all when Odell's dad's posting stuff. Instead, they just got rid of him.
That was hilarious. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the season.
That was hilarious.
Did that.
But it was they didn't do anything.
No,
they totally left him.
And then when he requests a trade, and they're like, no, we're not going to trade you.
Yeah,
you are such losers.
Yeah.
To do that. I don't care about how good the things were around him. Him as a basic human being has the right to not want to play for your garbage organization. And he has the right to request a trade. So for you to be like, no, we're not going to trade you, and then trade for Deshaun Watson of all people, that just shows me how truly awful that organization is. I've never been a fan of them. I like some of their players. I like a lot of their players, actually. But they are not a very good organization.
We'll see what happens with Baker. I was confident in the Colts. I was so confident in the Colts.
Yeah, that would be a good move for him. But now I don't know. I really don't know where
Atlanta's pursuing Marcus Mariota, so and we'll probably pick a quarterback now. So that where's he? San Fran, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, he's probably better than Jimmy, but Trey Lance.
Yeah.
You don't want to not play Trey. You don't want to try Trey Lance into Jordan Love. I mean, me and my dad have talked about this before. Now, depending on the price and depending on how Daniel Jones plays, I would not. I know there are several Giants fans who are going to disagree with me because I wrote an article and someone in the comments said something about going to get Baker, and it got a lot of dislikes and not a lot of likes. So I know that there are many Giants fans who will not agree with me on this, but I would not entirely mind a Baker Mayfield trade, depending obviously on what we give up, depending on how Daniel Jones plays, and depending on who we have around him next season. Will obviously all depend on that. But if Daniel Jones, even though I think he will, because I'm fully confident that under a new coaching staff with a revamped offensive line, that he will have the potential to be a very good quarterback. We have seen flashes of how good he can be behind a good offensive line, like in the Saints game that I will always bring up, because that shows what he can do behind a good line. Or his rookie year, where even though he made a lot of mistakes, as all rookies do, he played quite well at times because he was behind at least a league average offensive line. Anyways, we'll see how everything goes down.
I like the idea of giving Daniel Jones competition.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like the I didn't like the Tyrod signing at first because originally it was they said it was 2 years, $17 million. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we don't have cap space, so to sign a backup quarterback for that much. But then it came out that it was 2 year, $11 million with the potential to hit $17 million based off certain incentives, which is cool. I hope he hits them because I love Tyrod Taylor a lot. I feel bad for him because he's kind of been out on his luck with injuries that have cost him starting jobs first in L.A., even though it's obviously better that Justin Herbert played and in Houston.
Yeah.
Again, even as much as I hate to say it, it's probably better that a young guy like Davis Mills stepped in because he did play quite well towards the end of the season last year. And apparently they're looking to rebuild around him, which at the time is not the worst idea because no quarterback is worth taking, at least right now.
Yep.
And then if he doesn't pan out, cause they're going to be terrible again, Bryce Love. But, yeah, for right now, we'll see how everything pans out between the Browns and Baker Mayfield and where he could potentially end up going. But, yeah, that's all I got. There obviously have been other signings like Brandon Scherff to the Jaguars, a player one of the Giants to sign. Lincoln Tomlinson to the Jets, a player one of the Giants to sign. What else? Marcus Williams to the Ravens, which is a very good move in my opinion because their secondary needs a lot of help. Obviously, a lot of it is more due to injuries than anything else, but still. The Giants, we signed Mark Glowinski from the Colts. I like the move a lot. He's a very solid NFL guard. He played very, very, very well towards the second half of the season. And if he can even play at somewhat close to that level, I'll take it because he'll be better than Will Hernandez. He'll be better than Shane Lemieux. And then we signed John Feliciano from the Bills, who I'm not as high on as everyone else is, but if the Giants decide that they don't want to draft Tyler Linderbaum and they want to go with Feliciano, I'm not going to be entirely opposed. I want Tyler Linderbaum. I've said it multiple times. I've written multiple articles about how good I think Tyler Linderbaum will be I think he's going to be one of the premier offensive linemen in the entire NFL right out of the gate. But if they decide that we have this center who is solid and we don't want to go with a young guy because we need to focus on other groups, other positions, I'm not going to be that mad at it. I really want Tyler Linderbaum, and I believe that trading back is the best option for the Giants. But if they decide that taking Linderbaum is not the move to do and they want to run Feliciano, then all right, we'll take it. But I will say that the one thing I like about both the Jaguars and the Jets signing these players, especially the Jets with Tomlinson, is there is a very good chance that they are not very good. To say the chance of both Neal and Evan Neal and Ikem Ekwonu falling to the Giants has risen a little bit, especially Ikem Ekwonu, because obviously those are both players I want. I obviously want Evan Neal more, but if Ikem Ekwonu is available, I'll take him in a heartbeat, because those are probably, outside of Tyler Linderbaum, those are probably definitely the two offensive linemen the highest on, because after that, there's Charles Cross, who I like, but I'm not nearly as high on him as I am with Cross or Ekwonu and Neal. And then there's Trevor Penning, who I hate to say it, I don't like him as a prospect that much from what I've seen, which has not been many games, because I just didn't really want to watch lower tier Division I football, because that's also something people need to know, that he played in the lower tier of Division I football. That's why his PFF grades are as high as they are. But his footwork looks sloppy. He looks slow. He didn't, from what the couple of the clips I saw during the Senior Bowl, he didn't play too well. I'm not excited about him, because he just, I don't know. The best thing about this draft class, so deep. It is a very deep, very, very deep draft class, which is where a team like the Bucks could benefit, where they need a couple of guards. Boom, second, third round. Ed Ingram, Zion Johnson. I hate his name because it's so weird to spell. Lecitus or Lecatus Smith. It's one of the two, I think. I don't know. You have those three guys that could be available in the second or third round that will probably pan out to be very solid offensive linemen, especially Zion Johnson, who is probably, if I had to make an offensive lineman power ranking, he'd probably come in 5th or 6th, because I'd probably put him behind, because it obviously goes Linderbaum 1, Neal 2, Ekwonu 3, Cross 4, so maybe like 6 or 7, because then I'd go Bernard Raymond 5. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. I have my notebook right here, but I'm not reaching over to grab it. But yeah, I'm very high on Zion Johnson is what I'm trying to get across. He's been very fun for me to watch as I've gone through my scouting evaluation. If you want to read more on these players, you can go to G-Men. I'm going to shamelessly plug here. You can go to gmenhq.com at Fansided, and you can read my articles. If you go to the About section, you can find me and find all my articles, which for the most part have been draft-oriented for the last, basically since the season ended.
Nice.
But do we have anything else in the NFL? I don't think
so. The NFL looks a lot different next season. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'd say. Khalil Mack.
Oh, yeah.
Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson.
Yeah.
The Chargers defense.
Revamped.
Going from questionable to that's terrifying if I'm a quarterback and I have to deal with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack off either side of the edge. That's very, very terrifying.
I like how the AFC West went from one team to now 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, they were all solid. Like, there wasn't really, like, a bad team.
Yeah, the Broncos even weren't
They were all close to the playoffs, but now you might have 4 legitimate Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
With the most questionable right now being the Raiders, and they're probably going to win 9 to 10 games.
Yeah.
But
and they're going to be the AFC, which went from being really, I guess adding the extra team in the playoffs is going to benefit a lot this season.
Absolutely.
But the AFC went from being really, remember when we were looking at the AFC?
Top heavy.
We were like, whoa, now they are really good, the AFC.
They're very deep.
And then the other move I wanted to touch on, too, is Teddy Bridgewater went to, Miami?
Oh, yeah.
And then Mitch Trubisky went to Pittsburgh, sorry.
Well, he went to Pittsburgh to start, and everyone's saying Bridgewater is there to be the backup.
Didn't Bridgewater go to Miami? Or did he go to...
Well, yeah, he went to Miami to be backup, and now I hate to break this to you, to everyone. He won't be the backup for long because Tua Tagovailoa, and I really do hate to say this because I'm not going to say I was high on Tua because I don't like quarterbacks from huge schools, but I'm not a believer in Tua. I watched 4 Dolphins games this year. Yes, he's had very good moments, but his lack of arm strength really hurts him. It's kind of painful to watch him throw a deep ball. And not to mention just the lack of zip on the ball limits him a lot in throwing it, especially throwing it into the end zone. But
and then Leo Collins, Cincinnati, who you kind of touched on, they really revamped their offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, they went from one of the worst to they're going to have a good offensive line. They have Jonah Williams, who's very solid left tackle. Now they have Alex Kappa. I don't know about their left or right guard, but they can draft.
Yeah.
It's a very deep draft
Just
class.
so everyone knows, Desmond was like a very good offensive lineman in high school. That's why he loves offensive line. He loves the offensive line. That's his favorite position.
I love it. I love analyzing it. I love reading about it. I love watching it. I love it.
Nearly got recruited to a D2 school.
I was talking to the coach from St. John Fisher, but they couldn't really offer me a scholarship, and it's a private school, so it's very expensive. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'll go up to good old SUNY Plattsburgh. And
now here we are.
And now I'm just...
So if you ever hear Desmond go on tangents about offensive line, he loves the position.
I love it.
And that's what makes this draft class so legendary for him, is because it's so
deep, and that's what scares me about the Giants. Is like I keep saying, I made 2 mock drafts now. I'm working on a third one, in which I've had the Giants taking Zion Johnson. They have the 4th pick in the 2nd round. And the more I look at these teams, like the Bucks, like the Bengals, I don't think, especially with how well Zion Johnson performed at the Combine, I do not think he's going to be available at in the 2nd round, because he is very good, and especially like I said after the Combine, no chance that he's available in my opinion, which sucks. But especially again, Bengals. If I'm the Bengals, take him in a heartbeat.
The Bengals are in a very good situation.
Yeah, they have a lot of cap space. They have
weak division.
Not missing, not yet. Well, it could be good.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be. It depends on how Mitch plays. Depends on how healthy the Ravens are. It depends on how things go in Cleveland. Because they could be very top heavy with them being number 1. Or they could be very bad with them being number 1.
I love that the Bengals went from literally the worst franchise in the league to one of the best in a season.
Yeah, I mean, they were making the playoffs in 2015, then fell off, and were very, very bad for 4 or 5 years, and now they're right back.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And it was awesome seeing them make the Super Bowl.
Yep. Anything else?
I think that's it for football. We'll be touching on moves and stuff, like going in more. I would say we'll probably go into a lot more detail. I'd like to go more detail about the Tom Brady thing at some point in the future, so just keep tuning in, and you'll get more stuff on that. I think we should do a quick break.
I agree.
So we'll do a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll hit college basketball, and then later in the show, we'll talk about the baseball moves. Been an awesome week of March Madness, so we're excited to talk about that. We'll get back to you soon. Good afternoon. Welcome back to your 2 o'clock sports, or 2 to 4 o'clock sports report. The halfway point of the show, we have covered our NFL coverage for the week that we missed. Now let's head into, I'd say, probably the most interesting part of spring break in my mind, sports-wise, March Madness.
Yeah, especially in terms of games.
We've had, I don't know, every year I feel like I say it's one of the best March Madness I've ever watched. They're always so good.
Regardless of how previous ones have been, this has been
They're always great, though. Last year was great. The year before that was fantastic. The year before that was when Virginia won.
That was when Michigan State beat Duke. Great time for me.
Oh, that was
when
I think this is what makes March Madness, sorry to interrupt you, so good, is just talking about brackets and stuff. Like that game I can remember, like, is what made me win my bracket group.
Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman beat Zion, RJ, and Cam Reddish. And meanwhile, Cassius Winston is in the G League for the Wizards, and Xavier Tillman's on the bench for Grizzlies. Still a very solid player, but then you have Zion, who, when healthy, is probably an MVP candidate. RJ, who's blooming into an all-star right now, and Cam Reddish, who still has a lot of upside, but has not completely put everything together yet. But even then in college, he was struggling a little bit.
The Zion rumors to the Knicks are awesome.
I love it. I shouldn't love it, because it's just going to get annoying when it doesn't happen, because everyone knows it's not actually going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. The Pelicans would be stupid to trade him.
Well, yeah, it really depends on if I don't know why. I'm trying to look at like the games. Like I go to ESPN and like I go to their previous games, like the previous days, and it just tells me that games just haven't happened.
Oh, awesome. So every single bracket is busted for men's and women's. Fun fact.
No, I'm not. Oh, there we go. Now.
It was like after the first day I think it was after it wasn't after the Kentucky game. It was after like a weird game. That was the last one got busted. I know for women, after Creighton upset, I think it was Iowa too.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Both Iowa teams lost.
Crushed both brackets too. Yep. I saw a lot of people having. The Kentucky upset over St.
Peter's.
Yeah,
Doug Eddard. I love Doug Eddard.
He's
Doug,
hilarious.
I know you're not listening to this, but if you do, I love you. I want you to know that.
Just his smile and his face.
Just the mustache.
They're good enough though. They are
it.
legit good enough to go to the Elite Eight.
I hope that they make it past this round. If they can at least make the Elite Eight, I can be happy. I'm already very happy with
their matchups. Purdue. I don't know how I feel about that anymore.
It's rough. I have
Purdue in the Final Four.
Me too. I have Purdue in the Final Four. Yeah.
I thought Purdue was better. The only team that scares me is, I think it'll all be one seeds in the Final Four. Which side Villanova in? Because Villanova is really good.
Well, Villanova's a 2 seed. They are in South region. Who do they play?
I'd line them against Arizona if Arizona was to beat Houston, which would be a really, 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 really good game.
Yeah, that'll be good. But
so I guess you want to go through the Sweet 16 teams and talk about each game.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll start from the top. The 24th. That'd be what, Friday? Yes.
Yeah.
That's Gonzaga. Gonzaga and Arkansas. Here we go. I'm saying it now. If Gonzaga wins it all, I'm buying a jersey. Because Drew Timme is... I knew this was going to happen because if anyone watched Gonzaga in the playoffs last year, Drew Timme just turned into God. He was good in the regular season. He was good again in this regular season, but he just turns into like... He goes to different mode in the playoffs.
Drew Timme is Himmy.
Yeah.
I hate myself for saying that.
He is so good though, and his really mustache, good. The celebration where he does the money.
His post game interview after they beat whoever they last played was really funny.
He's so funny. He's so
like trying
goofy.
really hard not to swear.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
We talked about it earlier. We don't really know. We have a solid answer of Drew. He probably will get drafted, but if his talents will translate into the NBA because he's a really good college basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, there's always guys like that. I mean, regardless of whether they're drafted high or not, because obviously you have guys like, Adam Morris and...
arguably Zion's like that.
Yeah, but even then, Zion, when healthy, is a top player in the league.
I guess, but Zion can't shoot.
Yeah, but even then, that hasn't stopped him.
Like Drew Timme, I think what makes Drew Timme so good is he's a big, obviously.
But even then, Zion has the athleticism.
Drew Timme has no athleticism.
His lack of height and lack of shooting.
Drew Timme has really good handles for being a big guy. He's really clever in the paint, I would say.
A lot of things would have to go his way for him to work out in the NBA.
He would have to do some work, but either way, he's trying to win him a chip, and he took over that game.
Absolutely.
He went into another mode against Memphis, and I think I said it then. If Gonzaga doesn't win it all, I think that'll be one of their hardest matchups was against Memphis because Memphis
they were
is
saying
really
that after the game.
Yeah, Memphis is a really, really, really good team. They're really good players, and sometimes we were talking about this. Sometimes in March Madness, one good player is all you really need. Carson Edwards, Cassius, Cassius,
Jaden.
Who's that guy that Miami has?
Jaden Hardy.
The guy in Miami. You didn't watch a Miami game.
No, I did not.
There's a guy in Miami. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on this. I should know this. Who went? I think
is it Mr. McGusty I'm looking at here?
No. Who had the most points last night for Miami?
McGusty.
It might have been him. I don't know.
No, it was. I'm seeing a I Wong.
Yeah, it was him.
Okay.
Like sometimes a player going off is all you need. I just can't stop forgetting Carson Edwards.
Hang on. Did UCLA lose? Where are they?
No, they are playing UNC.
Okay, I was gonna say I haven't heard anything.
Johnny Juzang last season
is who you're referring to.
Yeah, he had a crazy second half against Auburn. By the way, I hate Auburn now. I hate football schools who play in college basketball. They screwed up my bracket.
Bama hurt my bracket.
Bama screwed up my bracket. Auburn really screwed up my bracket yesterday. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, What are their games?
So Gonzaga, Arkansas. I would say Gonzaga. That's a good matchup for them. They should be fine though. I think, like I said, Memphis is a really hard game for them. Texas Tech, Duke should be an absolutely fantastic game. Texas Tech's really, really good defensively, if I remember correctly, and Duke is really, really good offensively. And Banchero's getting better. He played well against Michigan State. He played well against Michigan State. Shot well in the free throws. So I was watching that game at work.
I watched the end of that because I didn't think it would be close.
I thought it was going to be close,
beating us.
I told you this before. I think coaching has a lot to do with college basketball because you said it best that the players aren't the best, and we'll touch on what makes college basketball so good, especially this time of year later. But like Michigan, for example, I think Michigan's like one of the second lowest seed that is left, and like just a good coach who has experience in March Madness, I think is enough to kind of will you to good games or into wins, and I think that's what Michigan State's situation was. Yeah, Coach K's on his farewell tour, so watch out.
And then speaking of Michigan, there's Michigan and Villanova. Michigan's the 11th seed, but has been playing very well, especially what's his name? I'm thinking of Dickinson, their big man. He has been phenomenal all tournament.
It'll be a good game. Villanova. Good matchup for them.
I don't like Michigan that much. I think I had them losing in the first or second round. But I could see them pulling it off.
I do too. They're weird. They're like a 17-14 team or something crazy.
19-14, yeah.
Yeah, and like 11 seed, and just turned it on as soon as the tournament started. Yeah. Weird. That's one of those weird ones.
Then the last game.
No, there's more games than that.
Wait, for Thursday?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Thursday.
Okay, my bad.
The last game for Thursday is number 5 Houston against number 1 Arizona. I really wanted TCU to win.
Yeah,
so I'm going to kind of root against Arizona here as much as I do like them.
Talk about Arizona's strengths because you watched most of that game last night.
They have a big man. I cannot fully remember his name, so I'm going to look him up as I speak. The downfall... The downfall of TCU was their lack of size. Mm-hmm. They got out-rebounded badly, especially towards the end of the game. But this guy right here, C. Coloco, this guy is ridiculous. Like he literally put the game away. He just jumped over someone for a putback. Ready? Okay, where is he? Hold on.
This is one of those instances I wish you guys could watch because that was I know what you're talking
28 about. 28 points. 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, 12 of 13 from the field. And then there's other guy, B. Matherin, who dropped 30, but 8 for 19, so not the best efficiency, but not bad for 3-11 from 3, which is not very good. But it really doesn't matter when you have those two compared to, even then, TCU, 3 20-point scores. But, yeah, it was a very good game. I will say the refs kind of blew it at the end, in my opinion. There should have been a foul on the steal attempt on Arizona, and then they went up for a layup, but it was no good.
Yeah.
It was good, but they didn't have enough time.
Yeah, it was right after the buzzer, but that was almost a call
Wow, it's actually crazy because I said they got rebounded, but TCU actually had more rebounds than them. But when it came down to it, they could not get a rebound
at the end.
Especially at the end. But very good.
I think I have Arizona in the finals.
Me too.
And I
have them in the Final Four.
I have them in the Final Four. I think I have them in the finals, and I like the way they play. So
yeah,
having bigs in March Madness is where it's at.
Absolutely.
Going to Friday's games.
Friday. Hold on. I got to scroll over to that.
You got this.
I got it. Just the internet here going to work good enough for? All right, here we go. Friday we have St. Peter's and Purdue. I'm going to go St. Peter's, even though
Doug.
Wow, Purdue is 13-point favorites.
Look at Purdue has that guy who's 7'2", right?
I have no idea. I know they have Jaden Ivey. I don't think he's 7'2", though.
They are tall.
I bet. But then we have number 4 Providence against number 1 Kansas. Kansas are 7.5-point favorites. I don't know much about either team to really decide who
Kansas has played well this tournament. They kind of lit up. It looked like it was only 7-point win, but they lit up Creighton. That was the least close game of the round of 32.
Yeah.
I think Kansas is pretty much a lock, or pretty much an Elite Final Four lock at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like Kansas a lot, but then we have the next game, like you mentioned earlier, we have North Carolina and UCLA. UCLA are 2-point favorites. I'm going to go UCLA.
I love UCLA. experience.
I probably as much as I shouldn't because I think North Carolina is very hot right now and they could pull it off. We'll see though. But for now I will go UCLA.
UCLA crushed St. Mary's, crushed them.
Yeah,
They'll beat them by almost 20 points. And experience. Drew Timme again. Or another side coming back to him. Experience plays a lot. March Madness, they have the identical team as they did last year when they made that like Cinderella Final Four run.
Yeah,
16 seed.
But and then the last game is number 11 Iowa State at number 10 Miami.
Oh,
yeah,
feels like such a boring game.
I mean Iowa State. Who did they beat? What, number 3 Wisconsin?
Yeah, they beat Wisconsin. They beat
LSU.
I
watched the end of that game. That was a really good game. I'll go Iowa State this game.
I don't know. Miami impressed me a lot last night.
No,
they take over games.
I don't know. It's very evenly matched game is how I'll put it. But
a lot of great games so far. It's been such a fun March Madness.
Yeah,
oh my god,
absolutely. It's been a good time.
So what? It'd be Sweet 16, Elite 8 next weekend.
Yep,
and then
Final Four.
And then Final Four and
the championship.
I hate how March Madness is only like 3 weeks.
Yeah, but the first couple of days are always the best because there are games going on.
There's like 2 games.
Day.
Yeah, it's like an
they
overlap.
start at noon and they're on all night.
Yeah, and there's an overlap too. There's like 3 games going on at one point.
Yep. But do you have anything else for March Madness?
I think just I would say keep an eye out. Who's your winner right now?
For it all?
Yeah.
Probably Gonzaga if I had to say.
Uh-huh.
Probably Gonzaga.
Chet Holmgren's.
Chet and Drew are.
He's gonna need to step up though.
Yeah, he got Jaden Hardy really messed him up the last game as much as I hate to say it. Because I mean I like Jaden Hardy a lot, but Chet, I'm a lot higher on Chet's potential than Jaden Hardy, even though I both believe they're top 10 obviously.
Is Chet Holmgren gonna go first overall?
He could. It'll be probably him or Paolo, if I had to guess.
I love Paolo.
Me too.
Chet's stat lines, we were talking about it earlier, might be the funniest in the league. They're literally like 10 points. Oh, and then he has more rebounds and steals some games than he does points. I mean, if you've seen a picture of him, he's crazy. We'll see what Gonzaga does. I mean, keep in mind Gonzaga was almost won it all last year without Chet. Added Chet, and now they're lethal.
Well, they also had Jalen Suggs.
I don't know. Suggs didn't blow me away last year in the tournament like I thought he would.
No, he's not.
Besides that buzzer beater shot, he was kind of having
that was ridiculous.
I think he was kind of a mediocre tournament, if I remember correctly.
I didn't watch much of the tournament last year, as much as I hate to admit it, but yeah. Is that all we have now? We can move on to baseball.
I believe our last thing of the day will be baseball. We'll just quickly run over the moves.
I mean, if we want to extend it, we can hit basketball.
Yeah, and we still got to hit NBA. Excuse me.
I mean, nothing really crazy's happened besides a couple, like 1 to 2 things I can get into quick once we get to it. But besides that, nothing crazy.
So we'll go over. I'm just gonna run over the big signings yesterday. Trevor Story on a $140 million deal to the Red Sox.
I love that move for the Red Sox.
I don't actually really like it for the Red Sox.
Really?
Maybe I'm a biased Yankees fan, but it feels very long for a player who is a little questionable coming out of Colorado. Yeah. I think the shortstop market has inflated his stats a bit, but we'll see how it pans out for the Red Sox. The Red Sox are looking so good, but the Red Sox didn't fix their problem last season, which was pitching. It was not hitting.
Yeah.
Their problem was pitching the entire season. So they did not deal with that issue at all. In my mind, they fixed it by adding a bat, which is like a Yankees thing to do, but whatever. And then the other one was this one was really weird for me. I'm still a little confused on what happened, but basically the number 1 free agent, Carlos Correa, out of nowhere at like 1 a.m, signed a 3-year, $105.3 million deal with the Twins.
The Twins.
I know I'm a biased Yankees fan, but if I was the Yankees, I don't know why they didn't do this at all, because it's such a safe deal. I have no clue how he only accepted 3 years.
Well, I don't know.
He could have gotten 7.
Maybe that's what he wanted. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Maybe the Yankees didn't want to. Maybe the Yankees gave him a crazy offer. He just wanted to go to Minnesota. I don't know why he'd want to go to Minnesota, but maybe that's just what he wanted.
Such a good deal for them, and a team that's kind of, I want to say rebuilt, but reloaded in one off season.
Yeah, they traded for Gary Sanchez, Gio Urshela.
Yeah, they have him, and then they added someone else.
No, they're not a bad team by any means.
No, they are much more of a contender now.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of weird. Nick Castellanos signed with the Phillies.
Defense might kill him, but
yeah, it's just like
to me, it's very there are a lot of things that make me questionable because I love Nick Castellanos for, one, the meme, which, do you know the meme I'm
No.
referencing? There are 2 memes in which an announcer said a very horrific thing on live TV, and he was apologizing for it. And he was like, just know I'm deeply sorry as Nick Castellanos drives one deep into left field, and it is a 4-0 ball game. Like, he was, like, apologizing and then stopped his apology to announce that. And then there's also, every time Nick Castellanos hits a home run, something horrible happens. Like, literally every time he hits a home run, like, someone dies. And it's so bad. And it's, like, his mother actually liked a tweet because on September 11th, he hit a home run. And I'm like, I didn't at him or anything. I literally said, go figure Castellanos hit a home run today. And his mother liked the tweet. Like, his mother even understands the joke.
His mother liked your tweet. That's so cool.
But it's just when you look at one, he was solid before, but he wasn't obviously at the level he played at last year. But when you bring in the fact that there are people talking about how they use like dead balls or whatever to make more home runs, a contract year, there are a lot of things that make it to where that contract could go wrong. I guess
it's
not to mention
it's 5 years. His defense, the Phillies have a good outfield. They have Bryce Harper, obviously, so it's a little bit of a weird move.
Not to mention, I mean, if he does play like he did last year, him and Bryce Harper are going to be a very good combo.
I like what ESPN wrote here. Castellanos can really hit, but what are the Phillies doing in the field? Perfect way to describe it. The other one is that day. It was funny. It worked out like that. Kenley Jansen signed with the Braves. Kenley Jansen has not been great as of recent, and also the Dodgers, who we'll get into, have obviously the best lineup in baseball. Their pitching's still a little shaky at times for me, especially their bullpen.
Wait, who?
The Dodgers, because they lost. That's a big reliever they lost. He soaked up a lot of innings.
I get that. I mean, yeah,
but they're still the best team in baseball.
Their starters are ridiculous. So,
but it's whatever. The same day that happened, Luke Voigt got traded to the Padres. I don't really care anymore. Luke, I can't. The Yankees. I chose really bad teams to like, and I'm just having a really bad year. The Cowboys. We've already talked about the Cowboys. I can't stand them. The Yankees. I can't even stand them either. And the Islanders are horrible. But,
I mean, at least the Mets. Mets haven't made any moves. Well, besides Scherzer, of course.
No, they traded for what's his face.
Oh yeah, from the
A's.
A's, yeah. Bassett. I like that trade a lot. I do like the Bassett trade a lot.
Yep.
But I mean. Yeah, we haven't made any crazy moves, but we also haven't made any moves that could blow up in our face, so I'll take it.
Yeah, the Mets had a good offseason.
Absolutely.
But the Mets were really bad last year, so
yeah,
they had a lot of holes, and they patched them, a lot of them.
But Syndergaard, I really just said Syndergaard.
DeGrom.
DeGrom being hurt really hurt us.
Yeah.
But now we'll have hopefully a healthy DeGrom and Max Scherzer and Bassett. That's a pretty nasty rotation.
I agree. So then the big one was, I thought was one of the biggest free agents was Freddie Freeman, or I thought he was bigger than Carlos Correa.
I agree.
What are you giggling about?
The amount of people that are going to the Dodgers.
Yeah, signed with the Dodgers. I mean, he is an LA native.
No, I get that.
So this is a weird because the Braves are like the Nationals. They went all in on 1 year and then it lost literally everybody.
Yeah, but at least it worked out.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened. But I mean, yeah, at least they got their chip. But I mean, the Dodgers are so good.
That is like the funny part of the no cap space rule in baseball. Like that, they just get teams like that, and they don't even win championships. I mean, the Dodgers have won so far?
One in recent years.
Yeah, I mean,
they're probably on line to win another one.
I'd hope.
And Clayton Kershaw's returning too.
I'd hope that they do.
Yeah, I mean, look at it's to the point now where it's like, who's going to hit 1 through 4? Like, how do you rearrange that order? Because you have 4 such good hitters.
Yeah, I don't even know. I really don't.
And then Chris Bryant signed a 7-year deal with the Rockies. I have no clue what they're doing. Traded Arenado just to bring in Chris Bryant.
The worst guy on a lot of ridiculous amount of money.
Whatever. And then the Athletics sent Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays might be a serious contender.
If the Mets did not exist, I would be the biggest Blue Jays fan in the world.
Same.
I love Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Love Bo Bichette.
I was a huge Marcus Semien fan. Obviously, he's with the Rangers now, but still, last year I liked watching them. And then they had a former Steven Matz. I think they had Steven Matz. I don't know if they still do, but they had him.
It's like weird for me because they're a serious World Series contender, the Blue Jays. And it's weird for me because I'm a Yankees fan, but I really love the Blue Jays. I've always loved Bo Bichette, especially since he came in the league. Keep going. Kyle Schwarber to the Phillies. This is, again, like part of the Phillies. It doesn't really know what's going on there. And then what were the other ones? Oh, yeah, the Yankees got back Anthony Rizzo. I actually really like that move.
Yeah, me too.
And then Matt Olson got sent to the Braves. I wish I would have talked about this move before the Freeman move, but it happened before the Freeman move. It was basically, at that point, it had been narrowed down between the Dodgers and Braves and who were going to sign Freeman. Then the Braves, out of nowhere, trade for Matt Olson, who's the first baseman from the Athletics.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't alert Freeman either that it was happening. So, like, that was like a major just stab in the back, then twist the wound. I wouldn't want to go back if they did that.
No.
And then yesterday, Jorge Soler signed to the Marlins. World Series MVP. Good move there. Nelson Cruz signed with the Nationals.
I did not know that he's like 41.
Nelson Cruz is old.
I'm a huge Nelson Cruz fan because I say I'm above average in my knowledge of baseball. Like I'm definitely a casual, but I'm not like a bad casual.
Uh-huh.
But like I've liked Nelson Cruz for a while. I just did not know.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz like randomly turned his career around.
Yeah, he was he. I mean, me and my dad were talking about it. He didn't start playing like in the majors till he's 26.
Yeah, and if you look, it was his year with the Twins, I think, a couple of years ago. Like out of nowhere, just kind of turned his career around, which you love to see. So good for him for doing that. And then the whole Josh Donaldson trade. I really don't want to talk about this trade because it just makes me so mad.
Really?
Yeah, because the Twins use the Yankees as a salary dump to sign Carlos Correa. They dumped Josh Donaldson's salary on the Yankees just so they could sign Carlos Correa.
Yeah, but the Yankees must have known that Correa wasn't coming at that point.
I don't know what they knew.
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that sucks is no one knows besides the Yankees themselves, and obviously they're not going to release that kind of.
And now the Yankees are under fire. Did you see about this for the sign stealing thing?
No.
So when the Astros got accused of sign stealing, the Astros kind of turned. I don't know if it was the Astros, but they kind of turned. The league kind of turned around and started accusing them of sign stealing, and there was a letter that's going around. I'll just read the ESPN headline. Yeah. MLB letter to the Yankees about 2017 sign stealing allegations to be made public. So I think the MLB wrote some letter about their sign stealing allegations that got sealed and never was revealed. Fishy.
Yeah.
But every team was. It's starting to feel like every team was cheating in some kind of facet.
It's just like the steroid era.
Yeah, everyone's doing some kind of facet with the sign stealing stuff. I think that nothing was as bad as what the Astros were doing.
Yeah.
And I think this is starting to answer the question of why the Astros punishment was so mild, because I feel like the MLB was under the impression that something else was going to happen, and this might be another case where something else does happen. In the instance, it would be Joe Girardi who gets under fire for that, because he was a manager of the Yankees at the time. He's now with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Boone took over the year after that year.
Everyone's favorite.
Oh, don't even get me started on Aaron Boone. So, going into the season, I'm really excited for this MLB season, even despite the fact that I can't stand the Yankees, because I'm really excited to see like how the Blue Jays turn out, how the Dodgers turn out. I'm really excited to see if the Giants can bounce back on their really good season last year. I don't think they can, but I'll be very excited to see that and like see how the Braves turn out. And I love to see I love the Nationals, so, like just little teams like that, how they'll turn out. But it's been a really cool off season because. Or not cool, but it's been a very interesting offseason. I shouldn't say cool. Like the lockout.
Still have dirt on my glasses from before.
Oh, yeah. We went to the golf driving range today, but it was like a swamp there, so we're both covered in mud. Back to baseball. I wouldn't say a cool offseason. It's been horrible with the lockout, but the lockout left this really cool stretch where like it was just 2 weeks of just straight moves.
Yeah.
That kind of came to a cap yesterday with the Trevor Story thing. So spring training's up and running now. My thoughts on the Yankees, for anyone who wonders, is I guess that's a good way to describe it, is right in that noise of very confused. I think the Yankees are very reliant on bounce-back players who, like DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, players who had really, really mediocre years last year, or really Gleyber Torres had a really bad year last year, and we're counting on them to bounce back is really risky in my mind. And so they have like 5 players who, I can like think of 5 different players who like they're counting on just having really good years who didn't have good years last year, and that doesn't make any sense. They're banking on their prospects a lot, who are like they have a really good shortstop prospect coming up.
Who am I thinking
Anthony
of?
Volpe.
No, there's another one they have.
Jason Dominguez. But he won't be up for a while.
Cards are ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, he plays for the Yankees. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because he plays for Yankees, and he's a very hyped up prospect.
And the Yankees have, like, another one, Anthony Volpe, I think is his name. He's the shortstop prospect. I think they're banking on him coming up in a year or two and being really good. But last time they did this was with Gleyber Torres, and Gleyber Torres has not really panned out. Or I guess he's kind of panned out, but he hasn't panned out to the ability that I believe they wanted him to. So I don't like the banking on prospect strategy anymore. Yeah. I really don't like their management. I really don't like their coaching. I really don't like their ownership. I wish they could just burn the team to the ground and start again. Because, like, it starts on the top. Their owner is so cheap. Like, they have no excuse for not going out and getting Correa or Story, in my mind. And you have so much money. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You have the biggest payrolls at the Dodgers. And then Brian Cashman is a horrible GM. And it's very obvious in the fact that, like I said, they got totally used as a salary dump by the Twins. The Twins are a horrible franchise. And then going back to Aaron Boone, don't even get me started on Aaron Boone. He's a horrible, horrible manager who does not know how to deploy a bullpen correctly. And his lineups make zero sense at all. I'm pretty sure I can manage baseball better than Aaron Boone at the moment.
You sound like me with the Giants.
Yeah. Oh, the Yankees are just, like, I love the Yankees. I really, really fell in love with baseball back in 2017 when they came out of nowhere and made that ALCS run. But ever since then, it's just been really painful to watch them. So I guess I get so up in arms about it. But it should be a very good year of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, baseball. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. No need to get political.
Yeah.
So, next, basketball.
I don't have much to say about basketball because
it's been very boring.
I'll talk about some of the big things like LeBron passing redacted in scoring,
catching up on Kareem is what
number
I would say.
2. He's now number 2 all time. Yeah, very good for him.
Do you follow Barry on Twitter? That guy Barry who always tweets about LeBron.
Is it Barry questionable last name?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's always like Michael Jordan.
Because he's a troll account. I remember he actually did troll me once because I think he posted that Ezekiel Elliott was traded. I believed it for a second. That's when I was new to Twitter.
That was so funny. And then he always tweets like LeBron as
his tweets are funny.
LeBron, and then he's always like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played against a bunch of plumbers, and now LeBron's playing against actual basketball players. Right Twitter account, right?
Yeah. I know what you're thinking, but he's now number 2 all time. I believe if he literally scores 25 points for the next 58 games, he will pass Kareem. Which
he's going to pass Kareem.
Yeah, obviously he's going to. He said he wants to play until Bronny comes into the league, which is about 3 years, I think. But yeah, it's just crazy watching. I mean, I've obviously watched LeBron my entire life. It's definitely nice to watch arguably the greatest player of all time. You know, obviously my dad had, it's like the meme, my grandpa had Kareem, my dad had Jordan, I have R.J. Barrett, I have LeBron James. But speaking of R.J. Barrett, I guess I'll move into my next talk. I am so sick and tired of Julius Randle. Because he had been picking up his play. He'd been playing pretty solid recently. And then we played the Jazz last night, and not only did he play terrible, but Rudy Gobert walked up to him and was patting him on the back, and Julius started flipping out on him, and then was walking out, and then started saying something to the refs. It's how many temper tantrums is this guy gonna have when he plays bad before he realizes that he is a problem? Forget how bad he's playing. I do not want a player with that bad of an attitude on my team, period. Let alone when you see all these clips of him not getting back on transition on defense, playing horrible, just not paying attention on defense at all, not even paying attention on offense sometimes when the ball's not in his hands. He's become a very selfish player. Yes, he has games where he looks to pass first, but his shot selection has become so bad over the last 2 years. It was even... I hate to say it was bad last year, but his shots were going in, and that's what made it okay. But when they're not going in, he's a very bad player, and he's not good for this team in any way, and people need to realize that. I'm glad that more people have, but it's time to give up with him. It is time to understand that Julius Randle is not good for anyone on this team. He's not good for RJ. He's not good for Obi. He's not good for Quickly, Grimes, McBride, Jericho. If you want to talk about Jericho, he's not good for any of those players. He takes the ball away from them. He does not help them defensively. He does not coach them. He does not even talk to them, especially on the sidelines. I get it's kind of like, okay, like he doesn't have to be in every timeout, but when you are just the quote-unquote star player of your team and you are not talking to your team during timeout, you're sitting off to the side, that's a problem. But, I mean, RJ Barrett is really, everyone kind of knows at this point. He's really starting to blossom into a star right now. His defense has been tremendous. It's not as good as it was at the beginning of the year, which was like all defensive caliber, but it's still very, very, very good. His offense has really been ridiculous. He struggles with efficiency every now and then, but it's fine at this point. Like, I don't care. I do not care.
He's their only good player, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the only scorer on the team at times, you're going to struggle to score, especially with how bad the refs treat him. I will say, and I've said it multiple times, that there's no player, and I will say this again, that there is no player in the NBA that is as disrespected in terms of getting to the line as RJ Barrett. There are so many clips of him literally getting hit out of the air, thrown to the ground, hit in the head, hit in the arms, everywhere, and he does not get a call. He legitimately has to get thrown down at times for him to get a call, and it is a joke to me the way the refs treat this kid. Because he would not only average more points, he'd be way more efficient if the refs would open their eyes and treat him like they do every other player. But, I mean, Quickly's been playing great recently. I love to see that. I want to see more Obi minutes because I'm really getting sick of Julius. Out of, like, if we're talking about, like, star players, like, not even really star, but, like, players who's supposed to be the one or two option, I don't think that there are as many players as painful and as bad to watch as Julius. Because when when he's going to shoot the ball or not, because he'll get scored on and be like, oh, I got to come back. So then he'll dribble the ball for 20 seconds and just chuck up either a terrible layup or a step back mid-range at air balls. It's just he doesn't, it looks like he just doesn't know what he's doing half the time. I'm kind of just getting sick of it. But other news around the NBA, Curry is expected to miss most of the rest of the regular season after taking a hit from Marcus Smart. Some call it dirty, some call it not. I have really yet to, like, in-depth look at the play, so I can't really give you a look, but just when I don't ever really look at media like Stephen A. Smith and ESPN figure. I don't look at them with anything like that. I'd rather look to a guy like Draymond, who said that, he said it's not necessarily a dirty play, it's a hustle and effort play, but if there's someone on the Celtics that I would expect to do something like that, it would be Marcus Smart, which is exactly what it is. Marcus Smart is by no means a dirty player, but he's a very good defensive player, and he is the heart of that Celtics team. He's a very hustle-oriented player. That's why I like Marcus Smart so much. That's why a lot of Boston fans love Marcus Smart the way they do. And it is, that's, again, he's just the heart of that team. You take him away, that team is very different. Also, while we're talking about the Celtics, shout out Robert Williams. He might be the best, 9-9 player in the league because his defense is truly, special. And I like to see that because my cousin Jameson, obviously, he's a Celtics fan. I've mentioned him many times in the show. Always talks about Robert Williams because we've had comparisons with him and Mitchell Robinson. I'll say right now, as much as I hate to say, Robert Williams is definitely better than Mitchell Robinson right now. But watching both those guys, both late round picks in the draft, both evolve their games and become better players is something that I've really enjoyed watching over the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, the NBA season's kind of cooling down. I mean, there are big games like Cat dropped 60, Kyrie dropped 60, Sadiq Bey dropped 50. I could not believe that. It's been a very good scoring week, I'll say that. I mean, I think Luka dropped 50. Tatum, I think, dropped 50. The month of March has been very ridiculous in terms of scoring, and I love to see it because obviously scoring is the most exciting part of basketball for most people, and it's very nice. Even just like I said, smaller players like Sadiq Bey dropping 50, no one saw that coming. I love Sadiq Bey. I think he's very good, but if you were to tell me that Sadiq Bey prior to the game would drop 50, I'd probably laugh at you in all honesty. But it's been a very good week in terms of games. I watched the Clippers game, the Kings game. I didn't watch a Jazz game. I don't think I watched a game before that for the Knicks. No, I did. I haven't been watching as many Knicks games as much as I hate to say it. I try to watch most of the games. I try to watch every game that I can during the season, but it's to the point where I don't want to watch Julius Randle anymore. I don't want to watch these Tom Thibodeau lineups with Evan Fournier anymore. I don't want to. It's not fun. It's really not fun to watch sometimes. But with that, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, so I guess the other thing is today's the NHL trade deadline, and it was very disappointing. I mean, I think the NHL is weird that the contenders are contenders and the teams that are not contenders are kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
I know Marc-Andre Fleury got traded, but that's basically I think, give me 1 second. I think there was another move that I'm currently blanking on.
Here, while you look for that, we have two things I'll talk about quick. The Eagles just signed Zach Pascal. I like him a lot, so I hopefully he'll be a good weapon for them. And the players of the week for Week 22 of the NBA are Karl Anthony Towns and Jason Tatum. Not surprising, especially Karl. Tatum, I mean, I can't really think of any player that you said deserves it more than him, so I'll say that, yeah. And then Karl Anthony Towns, obviously a 60-point game helped, and the Timberwolves have been on fire recently, and I love to see that because I'm a huge fan of a lot of players on that team.
It was Arturo Lehkonen who got traded to the Avalanche, so that's another move bolstering one of the best teams in the NHL. So I believe that's all we have today. We appreciate for you tuning into this special edition.
Not 2 hours, but about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, or 1.5
1.5. Wow.
This 90-minute edition of the Sports Report. On Wednesday, we'll go back to our 3 to 4 time slot. Yep. We'll break down more NFL moves in a little more detail. I think give a more in-depth preview of college basketball.
More NBA.
We're more into the NBA.
More baseball. More everything.
We appreciate everyone tuning in for this special edition. Follow our Twitter.
At Sports Report, PLT. I don't think it matters, but the PLT are all capital.
Yeah.
And then there's our Spotify and Twitter. Both links are in the
Twitter bio.
Are in the Twitter bio.
So we appreciate you tuning in. Everyone have a blessed night.
Have a blessed evening.
We'll see you Wednesday. Have a good one.